We're fighting for equality in our country. We do not want to replace white supremacy with black supremacy. We want to create a society where all of us exist as human beings and not as white and black. We want to restore the dignity of the African continent and position Africa as an equal partner in the world economy and international politics. We want Africa to be like Europe. We don't want Europe to treat Africa like it is its own subject. Africa's time is now. No one should continue with the exploitation of our minerals without our involvement. Not even China will be allowed to recolonize Africa. We are called economic freedom fighters because we want any foreign direct investment to come and invest in Africa through our own terms and to the benefits of the people of Africa. It might be a dream. Some might think it's not real. But we know we're going to achieve it. For because this dream is not just a dream but a generational mission. It's a generational mission we are not prepared to sell out. We want to restore the dignity of African people. We want to ensure that African people are equal partners in trade, in politics, in every subject that the world is debating. We want to follow in the footsteps of Nelson Mandela. Because Nelson Mandela, when he left his term as a president, he said the struggle continues. He said so because he knew that political freedom without economic freedom is incomplete. People cannot eat a cross. People want to put bread on the table. So, like many African leaders, we have committed not to betray the dreams of those who came before us. Like many African leaders, we want to unite the people of Africa to have a common agenda and common purpose. We want Africa to unite and Africa to reclaim its land and its resources. The EFF speaks about expropriation of land without compensation because we know that when the land was taken in Africa was through genocide. Why would we reward genocide? We cannot reward genocide. But we want land because land guarantees us of the sovereignty of South Africa and the African continent. We cannot claim to be Africans, yet we have nothing to show as a proof that indeed we are Africans. For because we do not even have title deeds to prove that we are the owners of the land, we have nothing to show. When you go into mines, it's multinational companies. When you go into banks, it's multinational companies. When you go into monopoly industries, it's multinational companies. We cannot even own and protect our own agricultural sector with our fertile land in Africa. Because Europe and the entire developed countries use Africa and South Africa as a dumping site. Every lower grade food gets to be dumped in our countries, undermining our own agriculture. When we say those things, we are called communists, we are called anarchists, we are called radicals, because we must continue to bow before a white supremacist. We're refusing that. We're refusing to bow before imperialism and colonialism. We want a total control of our own country and our own land. We will rather die for a dream that is going to be realized by many generations after us. Even if we don't realize it ourselves, we have made a commitment to lay a firm foundation for for generations to come. We seek to inspire confidence amongst many African masses that they must stand on their own. In this day and era, you still have a situation where there are African states paying colonial tax to France. France, it is what it is because of those African states. You have the reserve banks of African states in France and not in Africa itself. And we must accept that and say it is acceptable, it is in the interest of Africa. It is not. We want Africans to have control over their own currency. We want Africans to have control over their own economy and what constitutes their own economy. Our struggle seeks to inspire that. Our struggle seeks to inspire accountable African leaders, not dictators, not unaccountable leadership that turns a public purse into a personal purse. Some leaders in Africa, when you ask them for money, they go and fetch from a reserve bank and give it to you. Because they treat a reserve bank as a personal bank account. It can't be. We want leaders who are responsible. We want leaders who are accountable. We want leaders who will go to elections and be elected through democratic means. Let people determine their own leadership, and not because leaders are torturing them and intimidating them and imposing themselves on the people. In the whole of Africa, I met some of the students earlier, some are doing research in Africa. You must go and check the facts. In every failed state, it became so because of an individual called the president. The president takes over the country and everything else gets to be designed around the individual called president. They move from a democratic rule to personal rule. They respect individual more than the state institutions. If a president does not like a red beret, a law is passed that all red berets are banned in this country. The EFF is going to revive correct politics in Africa and position Africa at a correct path in the international politics. It is possible. We have taken that position, and many in Africa are willing to follow. We need your support. We need you to commit that Africa should not be a playground of the rich, because Africa is not a desert, but a continent where human beings are found and they must be treated with respect and dignity. Thank you very much.